Welcome to our audience with Tellabs. This conversation is part of a Hiley report on small cell backhaul that gives an update on the small cell backhaul solutions available and on the evolution of the mobile operators' requirements for small cell backhaul. My name is Hiley. I'm here today on behalf of Hiley, and we're talking to Tim Doiron, VP of mobile routing products at Tellabs, which is a company that delivers a wide range of mobile internet solutions to mobile operators globally. So with that, Tim, perhaps you could explain to us exactly what is the Tellabs position on small cell backhaul products today.
Tellabs sees that small cell backhaul is a growing and evolving part of the mobile environment. Service providers are seeking to deploy solutions for applications and locations we tend to call hotspots and not spots. Hotspots being dense urban areas where people may migrate to the central business district of a city like Chicago, London, Helsinki, and not spots maybe being at the edges of the network where additional coverage may be needed that is lacking. Tellabs has been in the macro mobile backhaul market for many, many years, and we see small cell deployments and the backhaul associated with that as a logical extension of macro cell backhaul.
Well, that's really interesting, Tim. I noticed that you mentioned hotspots, obviously the dense urban metro challenges that a lot of operators are challenged with today, trying to figure out how to get capacity into city centers and into urban areas, but also the not spots, areas where today there still is, for example, in rural and some suburban situations, not the mobile broadband performance and capabilities that operators would like to be able to deliver to their customers. I mean, where does the Tellabs proposition fit into this? Are you positioning yourself across the full spectrum of small cell backhaul opportunities, not spots and hotspots, or are you really focusing in on one of the segments?
So Tellabs has a three-part development plan around supporting small cell backhaul. We call it interoperability, and the second part is what we call pre-aggregation, and then integration. And so from an interoperability perspective, Tellabs is interoperating with other ecosystem partners for things like next-generation microwave backhaul for small cells and macro cells. In addition to that, we're building a standalone mobile backhaul network element of a very small size and power for pre-aggregating multiple small cells that you might find in an urban or central business district. And then lastly, as part of our partner program, we're looking to integrate that same pre-aggregation type technology into a set of partners for providing the layer 2 and the layer 3 and the backhaul type component of the infrastructure.
That's really interesting, Tim, because certainly, from my experience, Tellabs made their name in mobile in the last few years in providing kind of like a universal interface at a lot of cell site locations where you could integrate different technologies, 2G, 3G, and now, of course, as 4G B elements start coming onto the platform into a single interface, and then address that into the network. And it sounds as though you're trying to extend that expertise to help operators cope with, I guess, what might be a variety of different small cell solutions that they're trying to aggregate at different points of their network. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's very well stated, and that's exactly what we're attempting to do. If you take a look at small cell deployments and small cell backhaul, there will be more small cells than macro cells. They'll cover smaller geographies or portions of the network, and service providers, for cost-effective reasons, will look to use really whatever technologies available are least cost to provide the reliable transmission back to some other location, whether it's central office or macro cell site location. And so the Tellabs approach is to provide multiple physical options and to participate in those options via a combination of our standalone 8602 product, but also the integration of that technology into other ecosystem or partner products as well.
Okay, that's, I guess going back to your pre-aggregation product proposal for a moment, it sounds as though that is going to be a key part of your strategy. What would you say your competitive advantage would be in providing that sort of network element when, listening to a lot of the small cell backhaul and even some of the small cell node vendors, they seem to think that they have a proposal for that technology as well.
Sure, and so from a benefit that we think Tellabs can bring to the overall solution, we bring our years of experience in backhaul, and with that experience we provide the layer 2 and the layer 3 functionality, including the operations and management and performance monitoring of the network components, along with our industry-leading packet synchronization and timing capabilities that we've spent many years evolving and adapting for packet-based networks and getting tight timing on those networks for LTE and LTE advanced networks after that. And in the last piece, I would say, is our universal network management. As you look at bringing a network management umbrella over the solution, you give the service provider the opportunity for easier deployment, easier troubleshooting, rapid turn-up, plug and play, and those types of capabilities for reliable both deployment and then ongoing support and ongoing maintenance of that network.
So I guess the really interesting thing for me in that proposal is it sounds as though you want to make that technology available really in two ways. First, you can make it available, I guess, as a standalone component that could be purchased by an operator and put in a small cell location, and they can plug whatever small cell other backhaul elements or network elements into that solution of yours and leverage that experience that you've got. But it also sounds like you want to possibly even integrate that into other vendors' equipment. How would that work?
That's stated exactly correct. So we do have the standalone technology embedded into the product we call the 8602, and we would take that same technology and make it available in a small form factor piece of hardware and software that we could integrate with a third-party supplier, and with that provide the layer 2 and layer 3 and the OAM and performance monitoring and network management pieces of the network. What exactly that is will certainly evolve over time as we look at cost effectiveness and the need to continue to follow the cost curve. So maybe today it's a combination of multiple pieces of silicon and software. Over time you could see that evolving into just embedded software if there's enough processing power and enough capacity and capability and memory in the third-party supplier equipment.
Okay, so in other words, when we look at the small cell industry right now, especially when we look at small cell backhaul, there's a lot of new corporate entrants, new companies that are bringing, new innovative solutions to market. What you're essentially saying is that they can leverage the experience that Tellabs has with network integration and literally design that, whether it be through a subsystem or even, to a silicon layer, a level, I should say, right into their products and leverage the best of your experience as well as their own.
That's right, and this gets back to what do various equipment suppliers believe their core competencies and their own differentiation attributes are for their products. And so Tellabs believes that the experience and years of deployment that we've gained and the intellectual property gained around deploying macro cell and mobile networks has value and can be brought to bear for equipment suppliers who maybe their core competency or their skills are next generation microwave or millimeter wave or non-line of sight type technology, and we could alleviate their need to focus on the layer 2, the layer 3, the OAM type functionality, and the universal management aspect of that, and thus let them differentiate and compete at what they're best at while leveraging the skills and the talents and the capabilities that Tellabs has garnered over the last many years of mobile network deployments.
That sounds like a really compelling proposition to a lot of these new innovation entrants to the marketplace. I mean, how does that partnership, how is it realized? Is it purely a technical partnership, or will you do co-marketing as well?
Well, we're in the early phases of identifying and laying out this program, but our vision is that this would be both a development activity and also we are certainly open to co-marketing and co-selling type discussions as well. But certainly would begin with a technology discussion and an integration type discussion.
Well, clearly, one of the main attractions of such a partnership program to some of the other vendors that you might be working with is how it might save them money in terms of developments. But ultimately, at the end of the day, both you and your partners have to deliver a compelling cost proposition to your end customers, the mobile operators themselves. How do you see your program and the different elements of your small cell backhaul strategy actually contributing to the CapEx and OpEx concerns that operators have today when they're thinking about how do they deploy their small cell networks and more importantly, connect them all up and backhaul them?
So you certainly raised the right two points there that service providers are very much aware and concerned about, the capital expenditure associated with small cell deployments as well as the operational cost to do that deployment. And so I'll break those into two pieces. From a capital expenditure perspective, numbers vary, but in general, people think that you need to be 1/5 or 1/10 perhaps the cost of a macro cell deployment model because of the sheer volume of small cells and the smaller capacity range or geography they're going to cover. And so one of the things Tellabs has done, and one of the reasons it likes the pre-aggregation idea, is that a single network element can pre-aggregate multiple small cells, and so you don't need to deploy a layer 2, layer 3 piece of functionality either for each one of those small cells or embedded in each one of those small cells. So the pre-aggregation can have some statistical multiplexing value. It also can amortize the capital cost across multiple small cells deployed in an urban area. In addition to that, we have invested time and energy in the operational side of that, which is how rapidly can I deploy and get the service turned up and the backhaul configured and move on to the next deployment. And that gets to some extent to your operational and deployment costs. And Tellabs has been investing with our network management system and our network elements in a plug-and-play, self-organizing, self-optimizing network approach where our small cell pre-aggregation device can be installed. It can let the network know it's present. It can take an automatic configuration file download and be up and running and active and in service with minimal human intervention and with minimal errors based on an automatic configuration capability.
Well, it sounds like your hardware proposition touches on a number of different network management and traffic management, as well as just pure hardware and capex and opex concerns. It feels like a very powerful proposition. It sounds like you put a lot of thinking into it. What sort of things can we sort of expect to see in the future from Tellabs, to further enhance what your offering is today?
I think you'll see Tellabs continue to enhance performance monitoring, performance management, being able to anticipate problems in the network before they happen. We're already doing that with some of our software tools, like our Insight Analytics tool, which is detecting that a path is down and you're in a backup path state, and that wouldn't be an outage that would be visible, but it's a risk to the overall network. I think you'll see us continuing to invest in that area. You'll also see us looking to continue to advance our automation and our rapid deployment and troubleshooting tools, so that we can help continue to minimize that operational cost in addition to the capital costs associated with small cell deployments.
Well, that's great, Tim, and thank you very much. Sounds like we've got a lot to look forward to from Tellabs in terms of contributions towards small cells, and certainly your comments and observation will be a great contribution to this Sense of Hiley report on small cell backhaul. The report aims to provide an overview of the different small cell backhaul solutions available, along with an in-depth interview like this one from all the leading vendors who have participated in the report. The report can be downloaded from the Sense of Hiley website, senseofhileyconsulting.com. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed our interview today with Tim Doiron, VP Product Marketing from Tellabs.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to participate.
Thank you, and goodbye.